Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Family Christian Academy's Introduction to Home Education. So this video is really to help you decide if home educating, homeschooling your child is the right thing to do, and also to give you a little encouragement along the way, because we all need encouragement, right? So if you're trying to decide if it's right for you to do homeschooling, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe public school is the right thing for you. Maybe private school is the right thing for you. Now, you should know that FCA is also a private school. We do have a campus here in Old Hickory, Tennessee. If you are considering doing private school, you've thought maybe in the past that you would never be able to have your student attend a private school. Just so you know, we want to help you make that happen. We do have some financing options, and I'm going to give you our number at the end. But really, this video is going to talk about homeschooling, why you should do it, why you should consider it, and to make sure that this is right for you. Okay, so again, thank you for watching. Again, my name is Tim Shaner. I am the campus director here at FCA. And just so you know, my wife and I, our background, we've always home educated our kids. They're now in the 8th and the 12th grades, and we continue to teach them at home. And just a little background again for me, I grew up attending public schools my entire life in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And my dad was actually an educator. He was a school teacher, and then he became a principal, and then he became a big administrator later on. And so I was fully immersed in public school. And so I just want to make it clear, this is no way a stab or anything bad about public school. And if you decide to keep your kid in public school, that's completely your decision. But let me try to see if I can help you. This slide right here. This is the god of myths coming after homeschool parents. And I want to talk about some myths because people talk about some certain homeschool myths. And I just want to kind of address them to start off. And I'm not really sure why there are myths in public school, but I want to look at a few of them that I tend to hear all the time. Some of them I'm hearing less because homeschooling is becoming more and more mainstream. But let's take a look at a couple of them. The first one is that some parents just can't teach. You just can't. You're not cut out to be a teacher, and so why even try? Okay, and you probably have heard this one, and you might have even felt that yourself. That, well, I don't know how to teach. Let me ask a question first. Who knows your child or your children better than you do? And how about what motivates your child or your children to learn? What learning style is best for your child? Probably you are the only one that knows that. And so maybe it's best for you to teach your child. Let me ask this question. Why did God choose Moses to lead his people out of Egypt? Because Moses had all these certain skills? No, I don't think so. We can see that Moses made a lot of mistakes and stuff. God chose Moses because he chose Moses. Okay, I don't really know why he chose Moses, other than Moses said yes. But your kids are your kids because they're your kids. Okay, so you are in the position of being their parent. And so I just want to offer some encouragement. You know your kids well. You know what motivates them. And let me break this down a little bit. If you might be thinking, well, I can't teach. And what I think you're really saying is, when you're saying, well, I don't know if I can teach or I can't teach, is what is going to happen when I get to the really hard part? Let me break it down even more. What happens when I get to the really hard part in advanced math or advanced science or whatever? So, and will there be someone to be able to help me do this? Well, yes, absolutely. And that's where FCA comes in. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. We are most definitely want to help you. And also a lot of the curriculum these days is going to kind of really, really help you guide that. So I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, next, a myth that I've heard a lot. Public schools are better organized and offer better education. So let me break that down. Let's look at that for a second. It's true in one sense, the public schools are better organized, okay? They have to be. they've got lots and lots of children. Okay. We've always felt in our house that if there was a little bit of chaos in our house, that our kids were probably getting better education. Okay, so we have curriculum, we got books. My wife has projects and science experiments, and the kids have their papers and their books, all their projects. We have public school in our house, really. So there is a little bit of chaos. So, dealing with the size of our home, there's going to be a, just a little bit of chaos. Okay, so let me ask this: when we ask if schools are better organized, we're really asking this: do public schools offer anything that I can't in my school? So I would ask this question: does a better building or a bigger building mean better education? No, I don't think so. And how about curriculum? Because schools have the curriculum. Well, uh, in home educating your kids, you actually have a choice of what curriculum. And oh my gosh, since the time that we started educating our kids at home, there's a ton more curriculum, and we can help you at FCA. We actually have a bookstore here on the campus. You can come and browse and ask questions. You can order stuff through us online. We can give you maybe some tips or answer any questions you have about curriculum. But there's really nothing that public schools which in itself disqualifies you to be a teacher for your kids. Okay, let's look at the final one. Educating my child at home will deprive him or her of socialization. How many times have we heard that? This is probably the biggest objection that you'll hear. And keep in mind, the original goal in public schools was educating. The original goal was not to socialize children. It was to educate children. And here's what I think: that today people, when they talk about socialization myth, they're really just giving a justification because maybe they don't understand it, and they don't really know what else to say, I guess. And maybe they feel a little put off, that maybe they feel guilty or something, whatever. My wife and I have always tried with folks that we know, never make people feel guilty. In fact, every year we ask ourselves, maybe public school will be a better choice for our kids, and we've always come back to home education. Let me ask this question: where do you want your child's character to be developed? Within the masses of being within a bunch of other children, or from godly upbringing? Okay, no socialization is better than negative socialization. Let me put that again. No socialization is better than negative socialization. Now, you may argue with me on a couple of points on that, but my point is, I don't want to put my kids into a bad situation and then think that that's going to take care of their socialization issue. Uh, um, Let me put it another way. Why do we always think, and I'm being in a general sense here, why do we always think that our children will learn best about life if we just put them in a big crowd, we put them in public school? And I think you instinctively know that that's not the best way to raise your kids and to learn, teach them good character. We taught our kids at home, but they're not deprived. In fact, we get to be picky on the kids that they hang out and the peers that they get to hang out with, and the other families that we choose to hang out with. We get to be picky. No one has ever pulled us aside and said, you really need to work on socializing your kids more because they need socialization. No one has ever said that. Our kids are pretty well adjusted and they're doing pretty fine. Okay, so I just want to encourage you that you are qualified to teach. Okay, I give this little cat high five, little kitty high five, and I'm really saying that this should be what you and your family should be saying to each other, encouraging each other, is that we got this, that we can do this. So why do I say that you're already qualified? Well, number one, we talked about this before. You know your child better than anyone else. Okay, you know what motivates them. You know how they teach, how they learn. You know if they cannot sit in a chair very well. Like my 13-year-old, when he was younger, he could not sit in a chair, and so we allowed him. In a public school, he probably would have been scolded, but we let him spin around in a chair, do the next problem set, get up, spin around, walk around, come back down, and do the other project set. problem set, and so we know our child better than anyone else. Number two, you do not need to be a professional teacher to educate your child. I'm glad that there are professional teachers out there. I applaud public school teachers. I have friends, and again, like I said, I grew up. My dad was an educator. I respect them, but as I said, you know your children better than anyone else. And also, home education is a decision. Okay. The third one is home education is nothing more than enriching every aspect of parenting into a learning environment. Home education is nothing more than enriching every aspect of parenting into a learning environment. What do I mean by that? That you become aware that every situation becomes a teaching moment. And boy, my wife is really good at this. I mean, it doesn't matter if we're on a drive or we're on vacation. My kid can find bugs out in my son can find bugs out in the backyard. My wife will make that into a lesson and have him look up what those bugs are about. We'll be on a vacation. We'll learn about maybe the history around where we're going, maybe learn about geology, maybe learn about astronomy. And it doesn't matter. The learning never stops. Let me put it that way. It's just a different mentality from public school. It's like you go to school, you come home, and you're not learning. Well, our kids are learning all the time. The learning continues all day, and we just take and it doesn't mean we're assigning homework every single day. It just means that we're constantly teaching them. And so you get used to that different mentality. So you are qualified, really, seriously, you're qualified, okay? As a parent, you already know, think about this, you already know how to educate them. You've already taught them how to tie their shoes and how to ride a bike and how to do a whole lot of stuff. You are already teaching them. I love this verse from Proverbs 1:8. It says, "Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching." Now, when I see that verse, I can't come away without understanding that fathers instruct and mothers teach. Okay, and look at it another way is that the Lord expects fathers to instruct, and he expects mothers to teach. Now, I don't mean to take a Bible verse and say that homeschooling is the only way or anything. I'm just saying that parents are expected from the Lord to teach anyhow, wherever you decide to have your children learn. Here's another good one, and I'm sure many of you know this one, Deuteronomy 6:7, "You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise." Again, the Lord expects us to teach our kids anyhow, right? Either formally, homeschool situation, or just at home. He expects that. So let's look at some trends. Home educating is becoming a major trend in the US. I think that's pretty obvious right now. And I want to look at this chart. This is from the National Home Education Research, the NHERI. And these numbers are from the US Department of Education. And this is old data. I couldn't find any more recent charts because I think the numbers are still being updated because everything is changing very, very quickly and very rapidly lately. Okay, and I think this chart is probably pretty conservative, especially now with everything that's happening with COVID and what's happening in this country right now. The NHERI estimates that 2.3 million students were educated at home in 2019. Okay, we don't know the numbers for 2020 because we haven't finished. The Herald Tribune recently reported that home education grows about 3 to 8% annually, and they estimate that there's probably currently 3.5 million children being educated at home. And when I say this is recently, a recent report, I mean that this article came out in 2018. Okay, there's not a whole lot of new data. The problem with gathering data is that there's nothing comprehensive in the data gathering process throughout the entire nation. That's mainly because every state has different ways of looking at home education. So it's hard to gather all that. And I think there hasn't been much of a spotlight on home education. I think in the future, we're going to start seeing a lot of numbers and a lot of charts coming out. But right now, I mean, maybe you can find something more recent than me, but for right now, we don't have really some very probably, I would say, accurate numbers. But I think these are conservatives. Okay, so why is there such a big trend in home education? Okay, let's just look at a few of them. Ability to individualize a curriculum for their children. Again, like I said, there's huge big choices that you have, and we can help you kind of make a decision and how you want to teach and how you think your kid will learn and what's best for your kid. And we can even help you with testing if you want your child to go through testing. Provide a safer environment for the children. Okay, public school, there's unfortunately sometimes there's dangers at public school, so this is a safer environment. Uncertainty about during COVID-19, this is probably one of the biggest ones lately. And also teach and impart particular set of values and beliefs to your children. This is probably number one reason for my wife and I of choosing homeschooling our kids. Here's another chart. I'm not going to go through every single thing. This is from 2011. It's a little bit older, but you get the idea. Desire to provide religious instruction, moral instruction, concern about environment of other schools, dissatisfaction with academic instruction at other schools, a desire to provide a non-traditional approach to child education. So that's how your child learns. Maybe they don't learn like every other kid. Maybe there's something that you see in your child that they can benefit from teaching them a particular way. So let me give you, just as we're going through this, really 3 reasons to choose home education to see if this is right for you. Home education actually does well to properly prepare my kids for college and career. Now, you may not have thought about that. In fact, that's maybe one of the myths, is that it doesn't do that, but it actually does well to properly prepare your kids for college and for career. Let me put it this way. All 8 Ivy League universities accept home educated students. Now, I don't know if you knew that or not. This is a quote from Harvard admissions department. This is Harvard. It says, each applicant to Harvard College is considered with great care, and homeschooled applicants are treated the same as all other applicants. Okay, so that's from Harvard. This is what Brown University says. It says our evaluation process is the same for all first-year applicants, but homeschooled applicants may present some of the required documents in a different format. Okay, that's what Brown says. So number 2 reason, home education empowers me to teach what is moral and ethical. A lot of this I don't need to tell you. Okay, the list of secular ideas and what's going around in public school is growing. Okay, and it's your choice if you want to keep them away from that worldview and you want to give them maybe a Christian worldview. Stay away from subjective moral reasoning, et cetera, et cetera. Think about this: the Bible, the free enterprise system, and traditional American values are disappearing from the public schools. I don't need to tell you all that. And then when you think about negative influence in public schools, drugs and alcohol, gangs, violence, bullying, depression, all that. These are kind of key reasons my wife and I decided to educate our kids at home. And then lastly, the number 3, home education allows for my child's way of learning. And again, I've touched on that before. But in general, public schools, because of their size, they have generally large size of classes, they tolerate really only one way of teaching your kid. This is your chance to encourage your kids' particular way of learning and encourage them the way that they are motivated and the way they learn. You can use that and teach them the way that they learn best. Okay, so I'm just going to put this here and you can think about this. Why is home education right for my family? I gave you some of the reasons why my wife and I thought about, but maybe you have some different reasons why. And I just hope that this has been an encouragement. I want to also, as we're about to close here, what is state of Tennessee required for home education? Well, they give an option if you're going to homeschool with an umbrella. Tennessee gives you the option, and it says, quote, on their website, register with a church-related umbrella school. That's what FCA is. We are an umbrella school. That means we're going to help you with the records. We're going to help guide you and give you as much guidance as you need through curriculum. We're going to help you with getting a diploma, with any kind of transfers that are required, in making sure that you're adhering to what Tennessee, the laws that Tennessee would require from that. So if you have any questions about that as I close out, this is some of our information. Again, another encouragement, you can do this and FCA can help. We do want to help you, okay? And we say FCA your way. That means home, online, or campus. We do have online courses, campus classes, online classes, and also campus classes. And if you have any questions, please call 615-847-3999. Again, 615-847-3999. I put up my email there at tims@familychristianacademy.com if you have any questions. But really the best way is just give us a call.